Hi, this week we have two webinars on 20th July Saturday that are of your interest. First is exploring the global luxury consumption landscapes at 10 a.m. in the morning, and second is securing the golden years, a comprehensive health insurance for senior citizens. So don't miss out this opportunity. Please register. Thank you.
So, given the state of the market, how comfortable do you think the investor is with this current state of the market? Do you feel they are very comfortable with the valuations? Do you feel they're comfortable with what they see in their portfolio? Do you think they're comfortable to deploy money aggressively in this market? Where do you think investors are in this market?
See, first of all, we don't have enough data in India to say how many of these people are investors and how many are traders. There are too many people who believe they're investors but they're traders, and they can't take more than a 1 month view or a 6 month view. They just go buy something, it goes up, and then I have seen people happy making 300 rupees or 48 rupees or 58 rupees. They treat it just like Dream 11. Okay, so are they happy? They're happy because there is some transaction happening every day. I don't think to them the name of the company also matters. So these are typical traders. Are investors happy deploying today in some of these companies at a PE of 120? The answer should be no. I don't think so. But the same investor, if the share is already in his portfolio, he feels happy about it. Fresh, he may not go and buy a share at 120 PE, but the share which is holding, which is 120 PE, he is not selling. So it's very difficult to say that he is not comfortable, because if he is not comfortable, he should be selling. But people have this effect of saying, no, I think this share will go up permanently, or EPS will go up, or things like that. So there is justification for holding on. But people don't sell simply because the other asset classes are not looking good at all.
So, relative merit of other asset classes.
Relative merit of other asset classes, people not knowing whether to buy real estate, so they're just staying on here because they don't need the money.
But reason out this paradox, people are not comfortable buying, but are very comfortable owning, right? So they want to avoid selling effectively.
See, in the research reports, only two words are important. It's a buy or a sell. Everything else is... But there's one amazingly stupid word called hold, which makes no sense. It is either a buy or a sell. It can't be a hold. Hold means nothing, because your cost is of no interest to the market. If you bought Siemens at 70 rupees and it is at 7,200 rupees, you have to take a call at 7,200. You cannot say my cost is only 70, so I am not selling. That is no justification. But people use that as a justification to not sell, saying, oh, it will go to 10,000 rupees or things like that. So right or wrong, but enough people are not selling, and therefore the market is not coming down for some of these shares where there is just not enough liquidity.
So is this a market where steady demand and limited supply is dominating sentiment, behavior, state of mind?
Especially those companies which are good and well managed, it is the PE which is going up, and hopefully the EPS will catch up. But maybe it will take 3 years to catch up. But it is happening.
For this video, what can change this state of the market? What can change it?
First of all, any big geopolitical event. If you see, India has gone through the election, but some election is happening in UK, something will happen in US, something is happening in France. And even in France, one very disturbing thing was when the right wing was winning a little bit, there were riots. I have no clue what would have been the situation if Narendra Modi and NDA had got 400 seats. I do not know what would have been the state of affairs. The left is trying to do anything, it's willing to do anything to hold on to power. So some of those changes, riots in France. No, in France, if they lose, there will be riots that could spread to UK. So the Islamization of Europe is happening. So some of these things could have a terrible effect. And one thing, Shyam, last 75-80 years has been one country dominating. It was 75% of world market cap. Now it is perhaps 59% of world market cap. That is reducing, right? So something happening to the dollar, something happening in Europe, something happening in other parts of Asia, All these could have an impact. So very difficult to say, but some of those things could have an effect. What can go wrong in India, I really can't see, but leaders could change. I mean, maybe the financial services will come up and maybe the pharma will come up. So leaders could change. So some of the shares which you are holding may not go up, but some shares which somebody else is holding may go up. So there could be churn there, but I don't see the market coming down in a hurry.
So, near term, you are not seeing any local event leading to something dramatically different in sentiment. Can I say that?
Yeah, but what happens?
Because you wanted only to mention geopolitical.
No, but what I'm saying is, if you take 5-year blocks, maybe we are now in 2024, so maybe from 2022 to 2027, the returns have already come. So 2025, 26, 27 may be zero returns, and still 2022 to 2027 may end up with decent returns. So some of the returns may already have been upfronted. So you could spend a few years getting sub savings bank account returns. That is possible because the returns have been front-ended. That is one possibility. But even the debt market to me looks very interesting. So if you have money and if you have money in the market and you don't know where to put, Gilt over the last 1.5 years has given fantastic returns. So at 7%, if you can put money in Gilt, I don't think you can lose too much money.
Okay. You have a fair chance of making also. So the risk reward in equities, most part of the markets seems to be dicey, but you are saying in debt the risk reward is relatively better. In this mindset, how do you expect the market to react if there is an event? Do you think market will again buy the dip and move on, or do you expect the market to actually take it more seriously? Suppose there is a geopolitical event.
What we have learned in the last 20 years of investing, say 2002 to 2024, 2002 to 2024 has been one long bull market with very sharp bear corrections. So we believe if there is a bear correction, it could be for 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, it could be very sharp. And whenever there is a short bear correction, buying more helps. If it's a bear correction for 3-4 years, one, I don't think the government has the ability to, they will do something, dividend tax cuts, something they will do to make sure that the market is not down for so long, because governments change when the market is down. So government will ensure that such a thing doesn't happen. And because of all these assurances, there will be tremendous buying when the market goes down. So I don't see the market being allowed to go down by the government and by the institutions and by the retail investors.
It's a very, very interesting take that you are sticking your neck out and saying this. It will be very, very fascinating to see how the market behaves after the budget, because after the election result, one thought that maybe the market will pause, maybe it will take a deep breath and re-look at valuations closely, but none of that has happened. Liquidity has again prevailed over the market, and deployment has become the primary compulsion for most investors, small, big, retail, HNI, managers, professional managers, everybody. So the deployment compulsion still drives markets, and any adverse sentiment is being used by the market to deploy. It's probably only when deployment is easy and when mobilization of capital is difficult that we will see the market's real fears come out to the surface. Until then, fears may probably be below the surface, not easily coming to the surface, and people on the surface may be doing something completely out of context to the underlying fear which is prevailing in the market. That's the kind of confidence that gets shaken on a bad day. When is this bad day? We don't know. Let's hope that market prepares itself well for such a day so that it can participate and make the most out of it. So Subrat, thank you for talking on this video. On the next video, we are going to get into your state of mind. Thank you.
Thank you.